What if we told you that your favorite spine-chilling movies can trace their roots back to the silent era? Yes, that's right. The origins of horror movies, as we know them, began in an era devoid of sound, relying solely on visuals to instill fear. Take, for example, films like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu. These early horror classics, with their eerie atmospheres and monstrous characters, sent shivers down the spine of their audience, setting the groundwork for the genre we've come to love and fear: the uncanny, the grotesque, the supernatural. All these elements were masterfully woven into the fabric of silent films, creating a sense of dread that was both palpable and visually striking. These silent-era films, despite their lack of sound, spoke volumes in terror and suspense, and so the stage was set for the horror genre to evolve and terrify audiences for decades to come. As silent screams transitioned into audible gasps, horror took a new turn with the advent of sound in cinema. The evolution of terror was set into motion. The silent era of horror, with its exaggerated expressions and heavy makeup, was replaced by a more subtle and insidious form of fear. The introduction of sound allowed filmmakers to play with the unseen, the unheard, and the unexpected. The early 30s brought us iconic films like Dracula and Frankenstein. These weren't just films, they were orchestras of terror, where every creaking door, every howling wind, and every ominous footstep played a crucial role in creating a symphony of suspense. The music, previously performed live in theaters during the silent era, was now an integral part of the film, manipulating our emotions, heightening our senses, and making our hearts race. And then, as the 40s and 50s passed, the 60s and 70s welcomed a new era of horror, the psychological horror. Films like Psycho and The Exorcist didn't just want to scare us, they wanted to get inside our heads. They blurred the line between reality and nightmare, making us question our own sanity. These films didn't rely on monsters or supernatural entities to frighten us. Instead, they exposed us to the monsters within ourselves, the demons in our minds. It was no longer about what we could see, but what we could imagine. This era also saw the introduction of innovative cinematic techniques. Camera angles, lighting, and sound design became more complex, creating an atmosphere of disorientation and unease. The terror was no longer just on the screen, it was all around us, seeping into our subconscious. Just when audiences thought they knew what to expect, horror was about to take another unexpected turn. In the past few decades, horror has morphed again, reflecting our deepest societal fears and anxieties. We've seen the rise of new subgenres that have carved their own terrifying niches. Slasher films, for instance, have us questioning the trust we place in our fellow man, while zombie movies tap into our fears of pandemics and societal collapse. Found footage horrors, meanwhile, blur the line between reality and fiction, making us question our own perceptions. They have us gripping our seats, eyes wide, as we realize that the fear we feel is a mirror of our own realities. Then we have groundbreaking hits like Get Out and A Quiet Place. These films use the horror genre not just to scare us, but to comment on pressing social issues. They challenge us, make us think, and keep us awake at night, pondering their implications. Today, horror continues to evolve, pushing boundaries and exploring our darkest fears. From silent films to psychological thrillers to modern societal commentaries, horror has come a long way. Our journey began with the unsettling origins of horror, where we delved into the eerie silent films that paved the way for this spine-chilling genre. We then took a leap forward, exploring the evolution of terror. We saw how horror transcended from mere ghostly apparitions to a more psychological and visceral form of fear, reflecting the changing societal fears and anxieties. Fast forward to the present, we stepped into the realm of modern-day nightmares. The horror genre, now a mirror to our society, uses the medium to comment on pressing issues, making the terror hit closer to home than ever before. So as our journey of terror comes to an end, remember, horror is more than just a genre to scare you. So next time you watch a horror movie, remember, you're not just getting scared, you're witnessing a century's worth of cinematic evolution.